on top of that is the music is what grabs people, really grabs their heart. If you have a beautiful visual, that's fine. But you add a beautiful or even better, unexpected music track to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it snatches them and they can't stop watching because now they're feeling an experience like we do at a movie theater or anything else.
Welcome to Audio Branding, the hidden gem of marketing. Sound plays a more important role in human behavior and our decision-making than you may realize. In this podcast, I'll help you understand the art and science of sound so you can better influence others in business and your life. I'm your host, Jody Krangle. Let's delve a little deeper. This is the first part of my interview with Kevin Elliot. I love chatting with filmmakers, especially filmmakers who really get why sound is important to their production. My next guest is not only co-founder and lead producer for Wewa Films, a company specializing in heartfelt cinematic video stories, but he's also a college professor teaching public relations writing, persuasion, and public speaking at Florida State University. He's produced videos all over the U.S. for clients including McDonald's, the Federal Highway Administration, Florida's Great Northwest, and the Children's Advocacy Center, among others. He's written for The Washington Post, Desktop Documentaries, Business Energy Magazine, Public Roads. You get the idea. He lives in Panama City, Florida with his wife, daughter, and 15 chickens. His name is Kevin Elliot, and you can find more information about him at his company's website, wewafilms.com. For now, settle back with your drink of choice and join me in learning more about what makes a good film company great. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Kevin. I am really excited about this because I love talking with filmmakers who get that sound is important. It's one of those things that can get left by the wayside, and I hate to see that happen.
Oh yeah. No, sound is everything to us.
Yeah.
It is obviously we're filmmakers, so visuals are super important, but no, I mean, the audio is easily equally as important as the video. 100%. Yeah.
Starting off, I always like to ask if there's a particular memory that you have about sound that moved you early on.
Yes. And
I'd love to hear that story.
I grew up, my father was a minister,
Mm-hmm.
but a minister in the Air Force, which is, they call them chaplains in the Air Force. And it's a different kind of being a minister. You're not a guy like a pastor at a corner church or something like that. You travel all over the world, like every other Air Force officer does. And the way they do their worship services is everybody uses the same facility. So I would, on a Sunday morning, got used to hearing a professional presentation, a speaking presentation once a week for my entire childhood. I heard a professional speaking backed up by music because there was always a choir or something. But then I also was able to hear how the other denominations and the other religions worshiped using music and voice. And I was so fortunate at a very young age to have exposure to all of these different sounds and the overlay or the interplay of voice and music to get certain effects and it was fascinating. And so I think those are going to be my earliest sound memories, are going to be from churches and chaplains.
Sure. Of all different sorts. I love it.
All different sorts. Yeah. Yeah.
So that must have informed how you come about to do storytelling in filmmaking.
Yes. I can't emphasize enough the value of traveling around the world as a young child. I mean, so by the time I tell my daughter, who is almost 20, we live in Florida. Her 7th grade trip was to Orlando. My 7th grade trip was to Vienna.
Oh my goodness.
It was just so different.
Yeah.
Different. And so I was also a music kid. So I started piano lessons when I was 8 years old and did that for a number of years, and then went on into band in middle and high school, and actually ended up on a music scholarship when I started college. So music has been a part of my life, my whole life.
Yeah.
And hearing music and thinking about it and just being immersed in it, I guess I didn't realize that most kids didn't grow up like that. They didn't have all of those exposures. such a gift.
Well, you said your mom was very multi-passionate too,
My
right?
mother is the most universally creative person I've ever met. It's
That's great.
it's shocking. I mean, she can do any. She is self-taught,
Hmm.
and and I mean, when I say anything, I'm talking anything from oil painting to building doll houses from scratch to stained glass windows. She does her own woodwork, like finished carpentry around her house. I mean, she can do everything.
Wow.
Um, the one thing she doesn't do, that she loves music, but she can't sing very well. However, my father does. My father is very musical, has a beautiful singing voice.
Well, there you go. That's why
And
they
there it is.
found each other.
That's right. And so, yeah, when thinking about it, I had a very rich audio, sound, musical, overlaid with voice, like I said,
Hmm.
experience growing up, which I would most definitely gave me an eclectic taste in music. Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. And is that what drew you to filmmaking in general, or was there other things that got you there?
Au- Audio is like a bonus to me that I get to work with music and I get to do that. Our video company, Wewa Films, we started that. I have a partner, my business partner, Courtney, who
Sure.
is our videographer. She does all of the visual type things. I'm a producer, director, and she's also musical, so we work together on music.
Hmm.
We found each other in a odd way. I'm an adjunct college professor, and I was teaching a public speaking class.
I was going to ask you about the teaching. Yeah. We'll get to more of
Yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I teach public speaking.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's in my blood, right? So
Hmm.
and she was a student of mine. Just came through as a random student, and every once in a while, my students will connect with me on Facebook or whatever. They'll friend me on Facebook. And I was one day just scrolling through Facebook, and I saw this really good video for a Mumford and Sons concert, which struck me because I liked the band, and I was like, wow, that's a good video. And then I saw my student in the video, and I had this moment where I went, wait a minute, this isn't I see it looked like a Mumford and Sons video that they had produced. I went, wait a minute, she made this. And it blew me away. So long story short, it took a few years, but we just did a few side projects together, worked extremely well together. We complement very well, and we started this business. So that's how we got into filmmaking.
Sure.
I have a background in video production, more corporate and informational type video production. But what it taught me, and I've done this all over the country, so what it taught me was how to manage budgets, how to manage projects, how to do travel videography, how to manage projects at a distance, and all the things that go into that. So that I brought
Tricky.
that to the table. Yeah, and she brought just her gift for visual storytelling. We both have a musical ability and love, and it just works. We think.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that you have on your website and I was super impressed.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, really, really well done. Are you looking for ways to improve your company's or podcast's impact? You'd be surprised how powerful the use of an intentional audio branding strategy can be. Want to know more? I have a free downloadable PDF that gives you my 5 tips for implementing an intentional audio strategy at voiceoversandvocals.com/audio-branding-strategy. That location does ask to put you on a mailing list, just to send you updates on when the new podcasts come out. But if you really don't want to give your email out, I understand. Just contact me directly. My email is all over my website, and I'll make sure you get that PDF without needing to sign up anywhere. If you do sign up, though, you also get access to a resources section called The Studio, where I have videos, white papers, and PDFs, discounts from my guests, and snippets of audio from my guests that no one else gets to hear. So maybe it's worth your while. Totally up to you. And of course, if you're looking for voiceovers, you can get in touch with me about that too. Now, back to the podcast. But you mentioned also, and I just want to go back a little to this, that you're a teacher. So how does that factor into your film work, do you think?
So when we get done with clients, I send them this little survey,
Mm-hmm.
just a little feedback survey. It's like 7 questions. And one thing that feedback I get consistently that I didn't expect to get, I guess, or I didn't notice that clients would value, was when we're on a set, it's easy as a filmmaker or any professional to assume people know things you know. Like they know where to look. They know to look at me when we're doing an interview. They know how to position their body. They know how to speak. They don't know these things.
Yeah.
So when I'm on a set, the teacher in me, apparently, I didn't know I was doing this, is very deliberate with them. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is why I need you to look here. This is what's going to happen over here. And they like that. And I've heard that over and over. Like, you walk us through this whole process, and it takes a lot of the nerves away. And I guess I'm just a teacher. I like to explain why I'm doing things that we're doing. And
Sure.
I guess this is an added value. Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely. I would imagine people who have not been on film before just really don't know what to do or how to do it
Right,
or
right.
how it would be more effective on a film. So, yeah, having that kind of instruction, I'm sure, is just gold for them, And also, they'll be able to do it better next time
That's right.
because they know
Well,
why.
it's scary to them. Yeah, it's frightening
Yeah.
to them, and it's easy to forget that. And it's not just the video part. I mean, but audio in your business. If you're asking someone to do a voiceover, you know what that means. You know all the equipment, and you know where to position things. They don't know any of those things,
Yeah.
and you can't forget that, and have to help them through it, because certainly on video, if they're nervous or if they are apprehensive, it will show. You can't hide it.
Yeah,
And you have to calm them down. So I guess walking them through and teaching them a little bit helps.
totally. Yeah. Getting more into the filmmaking of this, and I love how you make everyone on your set feel comfortable. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have 3 promises, and
Mhm.
I know that I saw this on your website, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So that you will make videos that move people, and I'm wondering what those 3 promises are and how you do that.
Sure. We thought a lot about our brand. Who do we want to be in the world? I'm also a marketing consultant. I do a lot of that kind of thing.
It's what we're all about here.
You're right. So I'm a teacher. So I'm always trying to teach clients, okay, there are principles you build a brand upon, and follow them and you will do okay. If you don't, they are principles like physics. They are what they are. So we thought a lot about what our brand represented, what our brand promises were, the kind of clients we wanted to attract, all those things. So our 3 promises, we boiled this down. What do we want to promise that we will give to people? The first promise is that you and your organization will look their best, because obviously that's a concern, and people are going to spend a lot of money on video. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure that they are not going to be embarrassed, that they are going to look good. Now, a lot of companies that make marketing videos, they will say, it will get this ROI. I don't say that. That's not what we do. I'm not a marketing video company.
Sure.
If you want to use your videos for marketing, then by all means. But I will promise you and your organization will look their absolute best. We promise that you will want to show this video to people. You are going to want to share this around. Everybody you talk to, you're going to be like, look at this. And I get that feedback over and over again. It's like, I can't stop showing this to people.
Yeah.
So that's the second promise, is you will want to show this. And the third promise is your video will move people. And that's why they want to show it around, because we all want to be moved. At the end of the day, we make most of our decisions. We live most of our life emotionally. We like to think we don't, but we do.
We totally do.
We totally do. And we make buying decisions. We make relationships. It is all starts and ends with how it makes us feel. So the thing that we at Wewa Films, I think that we do really well, and using music. I'm telling you, it's such a big deal, a part of our process.
I was going to ask you how sound plays into that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So Courtney has this, if you go look at our stuff, she has this real gift for shooting in this really cinematic style. She just has a touch. But then also she notices and she catches these little human moments that other people don't see from angles, and it's remarkable. But on top of that is the music is what grabs people, really grabs their heart. If you have a beautiful visual, that's fine. But you add a beautiful or even better, unexpected music track to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it snatches them, and they can't stop watching, because now they're feeling an experience like we do at a movie theater or anything else. And so, yeah, music, I'll tell you, choosing the music takes almost as long as editing a video for us sometimes. We're very careful about it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So do you create the music yourselves, or do you get it from directories, or do you have resources for that you would suggest for someone who's, for instance, looking for podcast music or
Hmm.
even corporate narration music or,
Yep.
a film music? Are there places you go?
There are actually, yes, we have subscriptions to a couple that I love
Hmm.
that we've shopped around and we've landed on two. We don't do original compositions.
Okay.
Courtney and I do not. The most common one that I use is called Epidemic Sound.
Okay.
Epidemicsound.com. They focus mostly on web-based products. So you are going to use on your YouTube channel, your social media post, whatever it is, or something that's not going to be on broadcast television, put it that way.
Yeah.
But I love the thing I love about Epidemic is that there's a lot of variety, which I need for our projects because I like to surprise people with music.
Sure.
The other thing is you can search by mood. You want to strike a certain genre or a certain mood, you just tell it what you want the music to feel like, and it knows, and that is incredibly valuable. So the Epidemic Sound. The other one that we use is Audio Jungle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. Yep. Audiojungle.net, I think, is their website. You'll find them. I love Audio Jungle because it actually has more variety even than Epidemic, and you can buy broadcast licenses there. So if we are doing something that's going to end up on television, and by the way, for folks who don't know this, if you're getting into video production, be very careful about the license. Be careful that you buy the correct license for your music, or you'll get in trouble. So if you're going to put it on broadcast, you need to pay at that level, and Audio Jungle makes that very easy. Both of these you can save collections to things. So if you have a project going on, what my first step is, I just go in and just start randomly listening to music and then throwing tracks into this folder, and then I'll come back to it and listen to some more. Both of those are our two go-tos. We have a couple of others, but those are the big ones.
Yeah, I love it.
Epidemic and Audio Jungle.
Yeah, I use Pond 5 myself every once in a while, and I've seen a lot of production companies in my area using it for their productions. So I know that they also do broadcast. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them out there, but it's good to know about some specifics.
Yep.
That's great. I know that we're all dealing with a lot of stuff these days, so I particularly wanted to acknowledge those that have taken the time to leave honest reviews of this podcast. Like Elaine Grant, who called the show insightful, practical, eye-opening. As a veteran public radio producer and host, she says, and now an entrepreneur running a podcast consultancy, I thought I knew about the world of audio. Truth is, I knew just a small slice of this big and important world. I've learned so much from every episode. I need to re-listen and furiously take notes. I can't recommend audio branding highly enough. Thank you for taking the time to leave your comment, Elaine. It means so much to me. And now, back to the show. Do your clients think about the audio, do you think, before they get you working on a project? Or, do they even know what emotional point they want to make?
No.
Do you help them get there?
Right. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. Do they know the emotion they want to elicit? Yes, they will. Because I ask them about that, because that's what we do, is that third promise. If I'm going to move your audience, I need to know what emotion we're tapping. I have yet to have a client come to me. I'm trying to think. I haven't had a client come to me with music suggestions, for instance. Like, well, I think we should use something like this. They don't do that. I think, or at least in my experience, clients want to be surprised just like the audience does.
Sure.
They tell me the story they want to tell. They tell me the project, and then they trust us to interpret that and turn it into something that they are proud of, that moves them, that makes them look their best. And so I think they don't want to be involved that much, honestly. I think they like it. I think they like to see what we can come up with. And I don't mind either way. If I have a client who's knowledgeable about sound and music and audio, I would welcome that collaboration, but it just doesn't happen that much. They're usually busy people, right? It's like, this is why I hired you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and then what that lets me do then is surprise them. Is sometimes we'll come up with a track that that I didn't expect to have in there, but it just works. And it's hard to explain.
This has been part 1 of our interview. I hope you'll tune in next week for part 2. Well, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you heard, why not tell a friend about this podcast? It's available in all the usual locations. Until next time,